said it right this time, yes. So in our Tactical Tip Tuesday videos, what we do is talk about the business topic of the month and break it down into steps or ways that you can implement it into your own company. Now, the topic for this month is calculating ROI, which is a very broad topic. So to all of you business heads out there, to those that already have your MBAs or have majored in finance, please recognize that this is going to be a simplified version of calculating ROI, right? So all I want to do is to be able to provide you with some context, some knowledge that you can then go research further. But this video is really just to help you figure out where you can start. So when it comes to calculating ROI, I want to talk about some of the main components that go into it, right? So whether it is objective or subjective situations, there's always an initial cost of some sort, whether it be money, whether it be time, whether it be resources, what have you. There's an initial investment. Then in the future, whether the future is tomorrow, whether the future is 10 years from now, there is a hope for some type of return. Again, that return can be resources, it can be money, it can be time, what have you. But essentially, there's a start, which is something that you have to spend on, and then there's a end, which is something that you're hoping to reap benefits from. It's not always positive. Sometimes your returns are negative, and those are situations that you'll have to figure out how to deal with. But a concept that helps you determine whether or not those returns are successful for you is a concept called internal rate of return. So your internal rate of return, or IRR, is essentially what you and your team decide makes a project successful. Let me give you an example. Say you invest $2 today, and tomorrow you get back $4, right? You've essentially doubled the investment that you got, so you got $2 more back, plus the $2 that you invested. Now, for some people would say, yay, I doubled my returns, I'm good. But for other people, they might have been hoping to get $6 back or $8 back. So for them, that investment was a bad investment because they didn't hit the mark that they had set for themselves. So hopefully that helps you understand what IRR is. So you have your initial investment, you have the return, which can be today or tomorrow or 10 years from now. You have the metrics that you've set for yourself to help you weigh whether or not the investment is successful. And then there's also a tangent concept called time value of money, which when you get into the more complex calculations of ROI, you need to consider. So there is a concept called time value of money where if your money does not come back to you tomorrow, right, or within the next year, you have to then start taking into consideration deflation, right? Because every year deflation is about 3%. So the dollar that you spent today is not exactly a dollar 10 years from now. The dollar that you spend today might be like 75 cents 10 years from now. Rough calculation estimate, but you essentially get the point. So as your investments or your projects start to span years, you want to make sure that you're discounting that deflation rate so that you know exactly, you're comparing apples to apples and not apples and oranges. A mini side note, but that's when you start to get into the more complex projects. So just to recap, when you're thinking about calculating ROI, so if we talk about from an objective standpoint, you want to think about how much the initial cost of investment is. So say you're investing $500, whether or not you'll require more spending over the years. So you might have to put up an initial cost of $500, but then say maintenance is like $20 a year, and having someone work that investment is another $30 a year. Rough numbers, but just an example. So that means that you're spending $50 a year to maintain that initial investment. And then you want to think about when your returns are coming in. Are they coming in one lump sum in the future, or are they going to be coming in on a monthly basis? So are you getting $100 per month? And then you want to look at, that spending that you're spending over time, and that money that you're bringing in over time. Does that meet your internal rate of return, or does that meet the internal target that you've set for your company? Subjectively, and this gets a little bit harder to determine because you can't really price time. Sometimes you can't really price resources. all you can do is really give those things estimates, right? So if it takes you 10 hours to do something, you might estimate your time to be, I don't know, $75 an hour, $100 an hour, depending on, where you believe your value to be. And then you can estimate that number as the cost associated with making that investment. So for example, one of the things that I'm doing right now is creating a Udemy course online. And it doesn't really require any money for me to do it. It just requires my time. And it's a lot of time that I may or may not be putting into it at the moment. But what I will do when I'm getting ready to release the course is recognize, okay, it took me, let's say 100 hours to put this course together. If I want to see my personal internal rate of return, how much will I have to price that course? How many people will I need to buy it, et cetera, for me to really feel like I got the value out of that course that I'm creating. So for me, initially, I'm thinking if 1,000 people buy it, and if I sell it for $125 or so, I should hit what I consider my IRR pretty quickly. So hopefully these tips and this way of thinking about calculating your ROI in different ways is helpful to you. We'd love to hear about if you've implemented these, how they worked for you. If you have any questions, always here to answer them. Just leave them in the comments below. And as always, definitely subscribe, turn on notifications, and share this video if you found it at all useful. And we'll talk to you soon.